Hi, hello, good morning, my officers. Welcome to this exclusive free special live class series on this Republic Day in Unacademy UPSC Articulate YouTube channel. So this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educator at Unacademy, an expert in Indian economy, current affairs and MCQs. So now, in this very special occasion, that is Jan 26 Republic Day, when the entire country is celebrating, here we are with an interesting topic of the day, guys, which is a Republic Day special current polity series. And the topic of discussion, which is going to happen today, is the challenges to a federal India. The question is India really missing the spirit of federalism? So we know that India is federal or India is democratic, all these things are there. But then the so-called federal India, there are so many challenges to it even today in the 2022 as well. So now, taking into consideration so many different dimensions, the question appears as if the incredible India, that is our own country, do we really miss the so-called spirit of federalism, or something is to be instilled, or we are all fine with what we have, or what more to be done? So multiple notions like this will be discussed in today's class. Clear? So I hope this particular topic will add more insights into your understanding of the current polity, current affairs as well. And this is a topic which all of you is looking forward, because on the occasion of Republic Day, nothing worth, or let's say nothing more apt than this particular topic would do the needful for a good discussion. Yes, Vinneet, Ashmita, good morning. Yes, happy Republic Day to you people as well. How are you all? So yes. So here we go. So now in this particular topic, yes, Ashmita, I know you're quite excited for this class because the topic is also such a viral topic. So here we go. As far as this particular topic is concerned, the multiple points that we'll be discussing is we'll have a quick look into the current affairs of this particular topic, but at the same time, a background understanding of the very same topic with a proper look into the various articles of the constitutions and the required statistical theoretical background of the same topic based on federal perspective will also be discussed. Why that has been discussed is because for the UPSC prelims examination and also for a general understanding of this particular topic, it will add more value to it. So when you study about the challenges to a federal India, you should know what is a federal India. You should know the other provisions involved in it, and currently what are the practices or the features of so-called federal India that we have. And now, keeping all this in mind, what are the real issues or challenges that we are facing in spite of all these advantages or benefits? And now what you can do, that is the way forward. So this will be the course outcome of this particular series. Clear? So now the answer to the question called as, is our country India really missing the spirit of federalism? You will be very well able to express your viewpoints once the session is over, because this is again an open forum where towards the end of this continuous 2-hour marathon class, you'll be able to have a clear-cut understanding of where do our country India stand and what are we really doing with regard to the federalism spirit. Clear? Perfect. Yes, Devadashni, good morning. So here we go, guys. Before starting the class, a quick look into the profile of mine as well. I'm an assistant professor at Hindustan University, also an economist for Government of India, and I've mentored 15 lakh plus students across India with an experience of 7 years in the field of teaching UPSC exclusively. So you can just go through the other awards, recognitions, of kuch like that. And now, most importantly, I'm one of the Unacademy's top plus educator, handling a lot of batch courses with regard to NCERT economy, then comprehensive economy courses, current affairs, MCQs and stuffs like that. You can just enroll. Can you see a link that is pinned up in the chat box? You can click that to get an access to my profile. Follow me here and to get an access to the free special live classes and to the plus classes for discounts and mentoring program. The code is the same. Come and attend the live classes to become IAS officers with me, and that is Nisha IAS Live. So when the clock strikes 6 a.m. early morning, we have the current topics and news discussion, guys, which happens every single day. So today morning 6 a.m. class, due to a network issue and the mic issue, it didn't happen. So do not worry. The same topic will be discussed in tomorrow's class as well. Clear? So nothing to worry. If possible, after this marathon, I will make sure that the so-called morning 6 a.m. class of today exclusively will be discussed. Clear? And now, when the clock strikes 6 p.m. in the evening, here we have the UPSC level MCQs for prelims 2022 with a 360-degree coverage. So now 6 a.m., 6 p.m. is the regular ritual series that I can conduct. Apart from that, the marathon or the carnival series that happens on the concerned days or weekend, I'll be informing you via my official Telegram and WhatsApp and other platforms. So Nisha Nujumudeen for UPSC is official Telegram as well. Go to Google, search out my name, we'll get this. Clear? Perfect. So yes. Hi Chirag, Happy Republic Day to you as well. To all of you, a very, very, a great Happy Republic Day, guys. So I think you know about the other perspectives. And now a quick announcement to you people is till 27, that is till tomorrow, we have a Republic Day offer going on. Okay? Where if you take a subscription of Plus platform for 1 year and above, it could be a GS or a combo. GS and optional, you get a 6-month free extension without paying any fees. And top of this, you get an extra discount of 15% from the free amount. From the fees amount using the code Nisha is live. Clear? So all these things are happening. So if you want a name to be in the toppers list, the next air all India rank, then get ready and make sure that you're acing your preparation with Unacademy. You can even access all these batches and you can go for the option of loan as well, where all sort of discounts and things will work out with no interest or EMI. Clear? I hope it is very clear for all of you. So now, before starting the class, since it is Republic Day, don't you think it's quite important for us to start our day with an amazing quote, motivational quote of the day? Yes, indeed. And thus, here is the Republic quote of the day for you people to show the true spirit of an Indian citizen. Here we are. You don't become what you want. You become what you believe. So to be an IAS officer, it's not what you want. You believe to be one. And yes, you are here to fulfill your desires by taking forward your country into the path of success by the excellent contributions done by you. For that, you got to believe that yes, you can do this. So automatically, you become what you want. That is the quote of the day for you people. So thus, here we have the Republic Day. So a quick reminder to you to salute our nation as well. The word called freedom, that is in your mind. The faith is in words and the pride in our heart. The memories in our soul. Let's salute the nation, our country, India, motherland India on this Republic Day. So that's a happy Republic Day to every single citizen, especially my UPSC CSE aspirants, because you are going to carry this pride of our country, India, 2 times more than what any other, or let's say any other normal citizens can do. Because you are determined to serve your country India in every single perspective. That is why you have chosen UPSC CSE. Am I right? To become the IAS, IPS, or whatever service you want. Anyways. So yes, how are you all? All ready for this topic? You should be indeed very much. So let's quickly have a look into this amazing topic of discussion, the challenges of federal India. Is India really missing the spirit of federalism? And this particular topic is taken from the area governance. Clear? It is taken from the area governance, and let's quickly have a look into what exactly it is. So a little of polity is also combined in that. So now if you see, the context is on 26th of Jan 1950. That is the first time, guys, when the Indian Constitution came into force, and that's why we celebrate a Republic Day. We all know that. And in that particular year, we all know that it is a very, very big step for the entire nation that had long to achieve the ideals of justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. And that's why even today we are celebrating the so-called Republic Day, right? And now, keeping this in mind, guys, in a continuous or let's say in a country of subcontinental propositions, I can tell you that it is very, very important, or let's say it becomes the need of the hour that all the ideals, whatever is mentioned in the preamble of the Constitution, that has to be extended to all the levels of governance, be it local level, state level, central level. Then only you can call a country to be federal. What is federal government or federal India? When you bring all the 3 layers or the, perspective government under one single umbrella. When the governance go hand in hand with better coordination, with better unity. So now, in the preamble of the Constitution also, that is very clearly mentioned that one of the ideals is to make sure that all levels of governance has to be, coordinated properly. And the overall emphasis that we have on equality in the Constitution, that is also quite very much notable, or let's say visible in all the arrangements which is made around the so-called federal spirits and idea. This is how the Constitution is built up. Am I right? Now, keeping this in mind, do you really think in the present scenario, we follow this? Are we completely federal like how we say? Or is there a few challenges to a federal India? That is the topic of discussion here, to find out the missing spirit of the true spirit of federalism in our country, India. Clear? Yes, Pooval and Ganesh, good morning to you as well. Now, taking into consideration what you saw, the background of this particular topic, why you study this particular topic is because, or why we discuss this particular topic is when you take into consideration the consciousness of, let's say, the differential needs of the population of different states, be it the state of Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Andhra or Maharashtra or Delhi or whatever, the drafters of constitution, the one who was responsible for putting forward the constitution, guys, they made it very clear that the provisions for an equitable share of power and responsibility among different level of government, state and central government, is brought in. It's not like only one particular state government is given more importance and the other is not given importance. No. Every single state government has to be given equal importance in lieu with the central government. It has to go hand in hand. That is what, when the preamble of the constitution was put forward, they made a point in that. But though this is the case, though this is the context, guys, you tell me today, are we really able to achieve this? That becomes a big question mark. So, but unfortunately, guys, unluckily, I can tell you that our country, India, in recent years, we have been witnessing the vast assault on federal system and on institutions. That's such a shame to our country, India, I should tell you. And this is not merely in words. This particular statement has been put forward here, taking into consideration the evidences and also the other solid justifiable points. But that doesn't mean that Hamara Desh, is not that good. Of course, proud to be an Indian, guys. That is Sara Jahan se Hacha Hindustan Hamara hai na, guys. Yes. So that's a Jai Hind as well. So, but then, though all these things are there, also recent years, continuously, we have been witnessing the dirtiest, or let's say the worst assault on the federal system and an institution. This has to change. And why this is like this? So now, instead of directly going into the issues or the challenges, let me quickly take you to the background of what exactly the concept of federal India is all about. What are the other provisions? What are the other static perspective of it? What are the various articles of the constitution pertaining to this particular topic is telling you? And then the features of the so-called federal India perspective, and then what are the challenges? So automatically you yourself will be able to understand, are we really fulfilling those things? And these challenges, what we're discussing, does it add some value or meaning? And what could be the way forward for a balanced development, or let's say for a balanced conclusion, taking into consideration and to restore the real spirit of federalism for our country, India, in the very true sense. Clear? Yes, Ashmita? Yes, that is true, Ashmita. What you said is also kind of the point to be considered. The founding fathers made it very sure, Ashmita, as you said, to maintain the federal structure. But today, where are we? Why are we missing the federal spirit? That is something to be found out. Why the missing part has come up over there? You understand? So now, here we go. United we stand, divide we fall. That is what this particular picture shows you. See, even from a small level, guys, right from your home to a department level, to an institution level, to a governance level. United you stand, you can achieve things. But divided you stand, you fall. So now, this is very, very important, guys, at the country most level as well. You got to have a proper coordination, or let's say proper association, without any spells of, hatredness or partiality or biasness or jealousy out there, because otherwise you cannot function properly the way you want. That's the whole idea there. So now a quick look into the background perspective of this particular topic, and also at the same time look into the static portion of it, because we'll talk about the federal India. So what is basically this federal system? If you see, there are two types of federations. Okay? If you see in a federation system where you bring all the levels of governance into one single umbrella, there are two seats of power that are autonomous in their own spheres. One is, I can tell you that, a federal system. One is holding together federation. Second is coming together federation. So before that, let me make a point very clear to you. Those who are confused with the term unitary system and federal system, they're totally different. Unitary means you're bringing all things under one single umbrella. But federal, that is not the case. So don't get confused with regard to what is unitary and what is federal system. Is it clear? So let me quickly brief out to you what is the difference between a federal system and a unitary system, because both are different. Okay, that is, a unitary system actually is governed constitutionally as a one single unit with one constitutionally created legislature. That is how a unitary system is functioning. Whereas federal is not the case. In case of federal, that is not the case. Clear? This federal government, they will have multiple hierarchy levels with both the central authority and the states, or let's say provisional, both being sovereign. But where in the case of unitary government, there is no hierarchy as such. Only one single unit is functioning there. In case of federal government, the central or the nation, they kind of override the state rule. In case of unitary means the states have no authority to even pass their own laws And the central or the national government, they can order the states to do anything. It becomes a one-man show there. So there is a difference between federal and unitary. So those who feel that the concept of unitary is the same as federal, please change the notion. This is a minute difference there. Clear? Yes, Ganesh, please repeat, ma'am. See, federal means you bring in the state and central together. And the central is having a higher autonomy there, no doubt in that. But in unitary, state has no power at all. They have to listen to whatever the central government is instructing them. They have to act according to the whims and fancies of what they say. Clear? As simple as that. That is the whole difference there. Perfect. Yes, Kunal? So now, this federal system, they are quite different from unitary system, as I told you, in such a way that sovereignty, that is constitutionally split between two territorial levels, so that each level can act independently in each of the some areas. That is state and central government, I'm telling you. So which are the two kind of federation, guys? One is holding together federation. Next is coming together federation. So what are these? Let's quickly have a look into these particular topics as a whole. Take care. Now, what is holding together federation? Now, in such kind of federal system, what they do is the powers are shared between various constituent parts. Why? When you kind of do such kind of sharing of the power between various constituent, automatically it will start accommodating the diversity in the whole entity. So here I can tell you the powers are generally titled towards the central authority. For example, India or Spain, Belgium, as such. It's kind of, the central authority is coming away. You are not splitting up into state or other levels here in the context of holding together federation. Whereas coming together federation is what, guys? Here, coming together is you're joining. It's like you're joining or agreeing for something, which means all the independent state or country, they come together, so they'll be able to form a larger unit. Here, the country or the state. Here, state means not within a country, India states. I'm talking about the country perspective, the countries. Take care. Here, the concerned countries or states, they enjoy more autonomy compared to the holding together kind of federation. For example, USA, Australia, Switzerland and all, they have the kind of coming to the federation. Whereas holding to the federation, that is not the case. Where you are kind of dividing the various constituent parts, guys. So you will be able to accommodate diversity in the whole entity. India is like that. We hold together federation. We don't come together for federation. That is why the functioning of the country, India's governance is different from that of USA and Australia. In India, we have a PM, but in USA, we have a president. That's a lot of difference in that. You got the point. But to talk about the democracy perspective, India is one of the biggest democracies in the entire globe. That is a true reality, guys. We are incredible with regard to the democracy perspective, with regard to the people, the culture, the customs, the languages, and sab kuch. That is why it said that. Once again, a quick repetition. Sara jahan se acha Hindustan hamara hai na? Yes. Yes, Soham, Jai Hind to you as well. So now this is the meaning of holding together and coming together federation. And a country, India, is in the category of holding together federation. Clear? And that itself shows the kind of loopholes, or let's say it's paving a way to so many criticisms right from point one. Right? Now, to talk about the real federal structure of a country, India. So this is the background data. So now, this background data will enable you to understand where exactly a country, India, is standing, or what has to be done for a country, India, in the context of this federal structure. Hannah, if you see, the nature of our so-called, federal system is nothing but, if you see, there was a federal theorist, okay, called as Casey, where he has argued that the nature of Indian constitution, let me tell you, they are quasi-federal in nature, no doubt in that. We can never call our Indian constitution a federal, constitution. No, we are quasi-federal, not completely federal. That it's only quasi. You understand? So now, even a federal theorist has made it very clear that yes, the nature of Indian constitution cannot be completely a federal one, rather they are quasi-federal. And if you see the Supreme Court, okay, in the Satpal and state of Punjab and ORS case, in that particular case, way back in the year 1969, they even held that the Constitution of India is more quasi-federal than being completely federal or unitary. Completely, we are not unitary, let me tell you that. And we cannot call ourselves federal also. Rather, we are quasi-federal. Clear? And at the same time, this is not only by word. Rather, there are some constitutional provisions for ensuring federalism for our country, India. And if you see, if you check out the articles 245 to 254 of the Indian Constitution, you can see some respective legislative powers of state and center, where with regard to ensuring such kind of federalism perspective. Clear? Now, there are few lists in the 7th schedule of the Constitution, guys, which talks about this provisions of federalism as well. If you see union, state, and concurrent list, that is central list, state list, concurrent list, combination of both. Okay, that also exemplify equitable share of power. That is, there are some subjects If you see education, that is in the concurrent list. If you see health, that is also in the concurrent list. Whereas there are some subjects or areas which comes only under the union power, government's power, or only under the central, or a sharing of both, called as concurrent. So now this union, state, and concurrent list, okay, that also talks about what? It also shows or exemplifies the equitable share of power, where every level of government, central, state, and local government, they have their own space or spheres, I can tell you. So when this is the case, don't you think so? They're kind of enabling a context-sensitive decision making, of course. So they can show out their powers as well, their opinions as well. They can be put out. That is why now, guys, from centralized powering, we have come to decentralized one, to have a grassroots level participation. Because from the micro level, when you're able to understand the problems, that will enable you to have a macro level perspective. That is the whole idea here. Clear? And if you see, as per Article 263, with regard to the constitutional provisions for ensuring federalism, is it provides for the establishment of an interstate council. Why should they even talk about that? Because it will enable for a smooth transition of business between both the center, that is union, and the state, and resolution of all the jagadas or disputes as a whole. Similarly, what does Article 280 tells? Again, it talks about the constitution of Finance Commission. Why? Because that will enable the Finance Commission to have a better definition of the good financial relationship and the terms between both the center and the state. That is very important, because if there is no sort of association between the center and the state with regard to the finance perspective, then the entire system will collapse as far as the country India is concerned. So we have an Article 280 which exclusively talks about that also. And thus, the institutions for local self-government, this is very, very important, like self-government and panchayats and all, some other institutions and all, they were also added through the 73rd and 74th Amendment. Why? Because grassroots democracy or ground level decentralized participation or development is very, very important. That is why there were amendments in the 74th and 73rd constitutional perspective to bring such kind of grassroots level participations. Clear? Where the local self-governments and the panchayat institutions has playing a huge role. Did you understand, all of you? So these are all the background or the starting post of this particular topic. And talking about the local self-government and panchayat institutions, self-governments and all, I think when I was a degree student, take care, in the Asianet News Express in a channel, when I used to go as panelist and all, that was one of my, starting stage of going as a panelist. It is in English only, guys. Though it's a Malayalam channel, it is in English only. The local self-governments. I have been a panelist for the same. You can just go through the video also. In 2011 or 12 itself, I have passed a comment on the same way back. It's been like more than 10 years. Yeah, it's been more than 10 years. So 10 years back, yeah. So that was a very fruitful discussion, because from there on, from then I can tell you, this grassroots level democracy, or let's say local self-government, do play a huge role, the panchayat institutions and stuffs like that. So that is a very important topic to be discussed, because we miss federalism, or let's say we miss that unity because of the factors like this are missed up. Clear? Yes, Devdashni, panelist means what? Panelist means moderator, kind of a main part of the talk. There'll be one moderator, not moderator, and the other will be like a guest. You will be a guest in inviting, like a guest speaker. I'll be from representing one part, another person will be another part, and the other person will moderate. What is your opinion on that? It's called as panelist. A group of expertise people to share their opinions. A group of 3 or 4 experts will on different dimensions of the same topic will be a panel member. Not the audience, but the panel member. That's called as panelist. Okay. Yes, Ashutosh, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat to you as well. Now, is it very clear, all of you, the background of this particular topic? Yes? So I can see a question from Ganesh. Ma'am, please tell Article 279 of the Constitution. See, 279A of the Constitution talks about the President to find a joint forum of the central and states, namely called as GST, which I've told you before also, Goods and Service Tax Council, which is a constitutional body, guys. This GST Council, the constitutional body again, for making all the recommendations to the central and state government for putting forward the taxes and the issues based on that. Okay. Clear? So that has nothing to do with this now. It's about the taxation perspective. Ganesh, you can watch the previous classes for the same. Now, Here we go. The next important point with regard to this particular topic is, now since we talk about the challenges to federal India, you should really know what are the institutions of federalism that we have for the grassroots level democracy or for the grassroots or the decentralized caste stuff. If you see, there are various institutions for federalism. Now, the Planning Commission. Today we have the Niti Aayog, which is the independent think tank of Government of India. But then previously, before replacing the Planning Commission with Niti Aayog, when the Planning Commission was there, which is a centralized approach, okay, the center will put the plans and that is what the state government had to follow. The Planning Commission always had space for discussion on issues concerning the federal nature of the polity. And it was quite sensitive as well, let me tell you that, because that was sensitive to the different development requirements of the various states also. So when the Planning Commission was there, this was the notion. And if you see the interstate tribunals, then the National Development Council and also other informal bodies, all these things have played an active role, I can tell you. And now, this is indeed served as vehicles of consultations between the union, that is center, state and UTs, union territory as a whole. And now when these institutions of federalism was there previously, these bodies, all these bodies, I can tell you, they were working continuously and they have been very instrumental in tackling or let's say solving every single difficult or hurdle like issues very democratically. For that, they need to do some deliberations. At the same time, they made sure that they are upholding the cooperative spirit between both the center and the state. They never only took on, or let's say they never only focused on the, central government perspective or the state government perspective, rather a combination of both together. Is it clear? Yes, Deepesh, what is it? क्या यार मैडम कितना वेट करती हो यार? कुछ नहीं यार, 10 o'clock it started. Yes, Amina, good morning. 10 o'clock it started. Actually, there was a mic issue. Yesterday, you remember we had a mic issue. So only for the YouTube class it was there. So I kind of rectified the issue as a whole. So you don't face any issues while the lecture is going on. And this is a very sensitive and a viral topic. So I wanted people to, pay full attention without any disturbances. That is the thing. Anyways, is it very clear? So this is how the institutions of federalism is put forward. But do you really think that in these institutions of federalism, the cooperative spirit between the union and the state is really upheld? If that is the case, then we will not be discussing this topic. Now, is India really missing the spirit of federalism? Somewhere or the other, it has become a centralistic perspective is what people are telling as per the today's scenario is concerned. Hannah, over the years. So now, a quick look into the other notion of this particular topic, guys. What are the features? So, as far as the country India is concerned, why do we even say there is a challenge to our federal India? Currently, we are quasi-federal, but then why there's a challenge? Here we go. The features of the federal system of India is point number 1, the dual government polity. That is true. That's very true. You have a twin or a double or a dual government polity. And at the same time, the powers are always divided between various levels, central, state, local, sub kuch like that. Where there is, they ensure that there is a unity, but in reality, nothing has been reaching the table on time. That is also another point to be understood. So the decisions come from the central level. That's it. Then the third is rigidity of constitution. It's very strict, they say. Then independence judiciary, the dual or the double, twin citizenship, and bicameralism. All these are the basic features of the federal system of our country, India. But let me tell you something, guys. All federation might not have the all above same features. Okay? Some of them may be kind of incorporated depending on whatever federation it is. But as far as the country India is concerned, yeah, this is the features we have. But doesn't mean that another federal government should have the same features. That is another clause to be understood. Clear? We can just go through. You have a rigid constitution, independent judiciary, then bicameralism, decentralization of power, supremacy of constitution, written constitution, etc., etc. So as far as the country India is concerned, this is what the features of required for a federal India. That is what we have, they are saying. And yes, that is what in the textbook also we can see. Hannah? Yes, Puel, please explain dual citizenship. I'll come to that. Don't worry. I am coming to that only. Because when you talk about the federalism in India, this federalism perspective do come there. The dual citizenship. So now dual citizenship in our country, India, is one of the basic features of the federal system of India. Okay. Now, let me tell you something. As far as dual citizenship is concerned, two citizenship. Can you be a citizen of India and at the same time a citizen of US and Australia? No, you cannot. But as far as the features of federal system of India is concerned, it is a part of it. That is why I told you in the clause that all federation might not have all the above features. Which means the country India does not permit the third, fourth, fifth one. Sorry. Okay, because the Constitution of India, they does not permit dual citizenship under Article 9 of the Indian Constitution of India. Clear? The OCI card, that's overseas stuff, no, the OCI card, the blue booklet, whatever you have, that is in conjunction with a valid foreign passport that is sufficient to travel to and from India. That is a criteria there. Clear? And we cannot allow any Indian, you or me, to have a double or a dual citizenship, guys. That is to be a citizen of India and at the same time to be a citizen of a foreign country like US, Australia. It cannot be the same. And based on the recommendations of the high level committee on the diaspora on Indian diaspora, I can tell you that the government of India decided to grant overseas citizenship of India. That is OCI. OCI is there. Okay, OCI is there, guys, and that is called as dual citizenship. Here, dual citizenship is in the context of OCI, overseas citizenship of India. It is not in the context of being Indian citizen and then being American or Australian citizen at the same time. ऐसा नहीं है, वो इतना bullshit का statement नहीं है. Clear? And now let me tell you that it's not just a country, India, in this particular context, in the context of overseas citizenship of India called as dual citizenship. Along with India, there are so many other countries also which offer dual citizenship. For example, if you see Hong Kong, Iceland, Hungary, all these kind of countries do offer. Clear? And that is enough. And Article 9 of the Constitution also, please keep in mind. Okay, don't forget. No, there are so many FAQs. If you go to the Ministry of Home Affairs website, there'll be so many FAQs regarding this dual citizenship because it's a very viral topic. So there was a question once that can you become the Indian citizen again once you've got the OCI? Okay, that was again a point of discussion, guys. So let me tell you that if you see, as per the provisions of Section 5(1) of the Citizenship Act of 1955, okay, you can just write it. 1955. No, the whole notion is, for example, a person. If I am a person and I am registered as an OCI, that is a person who's registered as an OCI, overseas citizenship of India. Let's say for 5 years. 5 years I'm registered. Take care. And I am staying in the country India for 1 year out of the 5 years. 5 years in the period of 5 years where I am registered as an OCI citizenship, overseas citizenship I've got, and in India I'm staying for 1 year out of this 5 year. Now, in such context, I'm eligible to apply for what? The Indian citizenship. Do you understand? This is the kind of clause. Clear? Simple as that. Nothing. Don't twist your brain too much, because that will again put you in more trouble. This is enough with regard to dual citizenship. From the Indian context, you understand. I told you the practical perspective also. If at all you want to apply for an OCI, because this has happened before, because I want to do the same before. That's why I know about the practicality of it. Because my father was traveling continuously when I was in my school and stuffs like that. So, but then happy to be an Indian always. Hamara, India, Mara dil se hai always. Anyways, is it very clear? Perfect. I hope your doubt is crystal clear with no salts and sugar, left out. And you've got additional points also, I feel. Perfect. Now, moving on to the next area of the so-called topic, the challenges to a federal India. Now, what is the real concept of federalism in a country India? I told you that a country India is quasi-federal. That is why all these issues are happening. But then, when you talk about the federalism in a country India, what do you really think, guys, this federalism could be? What do you really think? See, India is a more federal system. Sorry, India is not a more, it's kind of a federal system. As far as the federalism is concerned, we are quasi-federal. But then, when you really want to implement the topic or the fact called as federalism, I can tell you that India is a federal system, but with more tilt towards a unitary system of government. You know why I told you the difference between a federal system and a unitary system is because you should not get confused. I told you the difference initially in the beginning of the class. You remember? Because what we are doing today, guys, we are federal. The federalism what we have is we allow the central and state to come together and all in various initiatives and programs where we promote even decentralization approaches or the grassroots level democracy. But then it's kind of tilted 360-degree, right? It's tilted towards the single or unitary system of government where the instructions come from the center. The state has no role to play in that, except for the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu in a country India where direct fatafat, replies are given. Let me be very honest with that. See, this is not offending or defending any country or state as such. A reality which I want to say. That doesn't mean that I'm a South Indian, that is why I'm talking like this. No, this is a reality which all of us know. So you should be vocal in what you want to say also, right? In a nice diplomatic way. Anyways, so thus, though this is a perspective also, the real federalism of a country, India, has to be really touched upon. It has to be polished, I should tell you guys, because this is how it is projected. Now, in the point number 2, if you see, It is sometimes considered a quasi-federal system, and it has the features of both a federal and a unitary system. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? I'm confused with quasi system. What's that quasi federal, quasi judiciary? See, quasi means something that is not complete. See, federal means it has features of both the central and state government coming together and coordinating together. But quasi means only a part of that is happening, something that is half spent. See, quasi-federal meaning means a system of government where there is distribution of powers between the center and the state, but it is not equal. Federalism means the central and the state government sharing of power should be equal, 50-50 percentage, 50% contribution from center and 50% from state. That is, or let's say the equality should be there. Even if the central is contributing more to the center also, equality should be there. You understand? But in context of quasi, there is no equality. Both central and state government will be there, but always the upper hand will be given to these central government. And in some scenarios, the state government will overtake also. Like how I said, the state of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, because of the central government ruling party, this is currently happening. And India is a federation, more or less tilted. As I told you, a 360-degree cover is tilted is towards the unitary system, guys. And that is why we call our country to have a quasi-federal state, because of the strong central machinery that we have. And the Constitution of India, to be honest, okay, if you ask me personally, I can say that chalo, it has not described India as a federation till today. That is why I'm telling you that we have so many challenges to a complete federal India. Somewhere or the other, we're missing the spirit of federalism. That is what this article is throwing light into your brains by showing what exactly a country is having, the features and the real concept of federalism, and then moving on to the issues or challenges. Clear? Is it very clear for you? I hope your doubt is cleared. Yes, Ashmita, you are right, ma'am. I'm from West Bengal and I agree about that South. Yeah, South is South. See. East, West, North, South. I'm an Indian. Let me tell you that there is no bifurcation as such. But then, this is happening here. You take a policy there, it works very fast in Gujarat, but it doesn't work faster in Kerala or Tamil Nadu. Let me tell you one thing. For example, the question of eatable thing. There was a stuff like, beef should be banned. See, if that is the case, religiously, we Muslims, we don't take pork. Okay, it's haram for us. But we never tell the people who's taking that not to take it. It is their choice. It's the choice of an individual to do whatever they want. Because we are having freedom of choice here. But doesn't mean that you're doing something illegal. Now, cow is an animal that is considered to be holy as per the religion. I truly understand. But now beef is something which is having the butchering of buffaloes, or let's say some areas it is cows also. I truly respect the religious perspective. But you cannot instill that into the brains of another person that you shouldn't take it as a harm thing. No. They tried to impose this so-called stuff in the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and most importantly, the state of Kerala, where that time the ruling party, and even currently the ruling party is CPM. Fatafat, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, the CM, Chief Minister, gave nice. Who is somebody, XYZ, let me not tell the name, who is somebody to decide on what a person should eat, drink, or take away with. I mean, it's the choice of an individual. It's the choice of a person. And if you don't like something, have the guts to express it. And it's not like you stand smilingly in some place and then you kind of do it at the back. No, why I'm telling this is very recently, guys, one of my very colleague, okay, known person, it's so irrational, so illogical, and so unprofessional and immature. That is, you stand nicely, you stand talk, you do all the stuff to show the good image that you have. But so much of ego, so much of jealousy, so much of, that so-called stuff that you can express what you really want. Why to be like that? Rather, be sharp to the faces. Be sharp to what you want to say in a nice manner. That is called as real maturity, real attitude. Rather than hiding behind the bar and, doing all this giddy-giddy stuff. It doesn't make you, or let's say, make you a complete individual. It really shows out that such a shameful act of a person to do that. This is something which this morning only I was just going through that particular, issue before the class, and I was just thinking how weird people are. So does the country perspective I'm trying to say, where when the comment was passed, okay, what did the Kerala government said? Central government can pass rules and regulations, but you know, no one to come and tell me what I should eat or what my state people should consume. It is their choice. You cannot put a ban on, the consumption of beef or stuffs like that. Tomorrow they will come and say, hey, don't drink milk because we cannot extract milk from cow. What nonsense is that? You cannot allow those. You worship. It's your choice. We're not interfering and we're not harming or hurting. But you cannot make it as a law. But the people on the north side, yeah, they were forced to do that. But in the south side, yeah, we kind of aggravated. See, it doesn't mean that I do consume it. Being a Muslim, I don't consume it. I don't consume much of beef, but I'm telling you. But see, when you talk about a point, if you talk in such a manner which makes a lot of validity or which makes a lot of sense, don't you think so? Yes, it has to. So everywhere this is there, guys. Everywhere I told you, from individual level to the higher level, this dirty politics or let's say this so-called cunningness is there. When people are scared to talk up to face, that shows they never grow. So does the country or the state perspective also. But there are states in our country, India, like the southern states, where they are fatafat up to face at what they want to do. They are not bothered about what are the other repercussions that come because they are confident in what they are saying. It is not to harm or hurt or put anybody down or defend anybody down. No, it is about what we want and the right we have in a matured way. Let me put that in a very nice, in a matured and diplomatic way, because that adds more value. You understand? That is something to be understood. Yes, Ashmita, completely right. Ma'am. Yeah, that is the reality, girl. That's why I told you that. Yes, Ashutosh. Truth is true. That is it. That's what I told you now. See, I give an example of individual level because these kind of things I encounter on a single day basis. And this came to me very recently. Actually, in the morning only, I was going through that. I was telling, is the person really, sick? The person requires some sort of, help. Really? Because that was so irrational of the person to pass a comment which was totally out of the box. I was wondering why the person didn't even have the guts to come and tell right in front. So, from an individual level, this kind of conspiracy, this kind of self stuff is happening. You are not even able to express the way you want. Such a shame to call yourself a citizen of this country, India, when you cannot even do such a shame. Seriously, to that particular person. So now in the country level also, we do not want people like that. We want efficient citizens, or let's say the government who can express what they want the right way for the right cause in the right manner. Doesn't mean that you're going as a rebel and you're fighting. No, it is just beautifully expressing what you want in the right platform, right place, up to face. Because that adds a load of sense. And that comes with experience and maturity over the years, guys. And that's what the state of Kerala has also done. I see, just because I'm Malayali or I belong to this particular state, I don't say that what we did is right. But on a long term perspective or on a conscious perspective, if you see what I should eat, you should not tell me, right? That is something that, see, in China and Japan, if they eat snake, can you go and tell them, no, Nag, matlab, it's very poisonous, you should not eat. They eat everything. And if you see, Cobra has been worshipped as Naga, what do you say? As Naga Kaniga, Naga Dev and all, Naga and stuff and all. But they're killing and eating it. So what are you going to tell those people to stop doing that? No, you cannot do that. See, things which are, but that is too much here. Let me tell you that. That and all is too much to eat snakes and all. But in spite of that, they have the freedom to do what they want. And there are so many Indians who try out those things also. Can you go and stop them from doing that? You got the point. So when you pass a comment, when you pass, stuffs like that, use a little of common sense and logic as well before saying things. Anyways. Okay. Yes, Danya, good morning. So now, back to the topic of discussion. We were in the federal perspective. It took us to so many dimensions. Sometimes it's worth discussing also these things, guys. Anyways, so thus, this is the reality. This is the so-called federalism in our country. And now, what is Article 1 of the Constitution of our country states? It tells that India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states, which means every single state in India have to come together. That's the whole point. And the word federation, see, this is not mentioned where in the Constitution. That's what I told you. Federalism is there, but nowhere we say federalism completely. That's why it is said that India is a Bharat and it shall be union of state. That is what even Article 1 of the Constitution tells us. So where is federation? And how can we call a country India completely federal? The word itself is not mentioned there. And now we are missing the spirit of federalism because of this. That's why we are called as quasi-federal again. You got the point. So these kind of things have to be really, really considered. Clear? Now, this is the most interesting part of the topic as well. One of the most interesting part. Okay, is India a federal or a quasi-federal state? Now you tell me, quick. You got to make it really fast. I've told you, so many important points till now. So you got to really quickly tell me, are we a federal or a quasi-federal state? You can even take the example of Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 1 of the Constitution can be taken into consideration. Clear? People are thinking. Ashmit and Ashutosh, ma'am, damn sure it is quasi. Really, because I told it is quasi. What if I say federal? Article 1 tells that India shall be India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states here. Union of states consists of central and state together. So how can you say it is quasi? It could be federal. I said the word federation is not used. Don't do kallatarams. Quick, quick. Oh my goodness, फिर शुरू हो गई यार आपका kallatarams. Damn sure, पक्का कितना पक्का है? How much? Damn sure 100% or more than 100%. We are quasi-federal. If you say that we are quasi-federal, chalo, that makes a load of sense, my young officers, to carry forward the discussion. Hadn't you told me we are federal, then I would have stopped the discussion then and there. There is no point. If you are federal, then why are we even talking about this topic? Why are we even talking about the challenges to a federal India? And why are we even talking about whether our country India is missing the spirit of federalism? Don't you think so? Yes, we are quasi-federal. That is the reason this topic of discussion is heated up, or this controversial topic is going on today. Clear? And don't you think so? This topic is indeed the apt topic. Couple of days before, I think on Jan 14th or Jan 24 only, couple of days before only, on Monday, this topic was there in newspaper. These days, I don't do editorials for you, because of the time issues. I don't do this editorial stuff. But then this topic was there. How many of you went through this? Definitely in the current affairs class, any one professor would have taken this for you. Any one teachers, your educators would have taken this. But I was waiting on Republic Day to bring this in a different way. They would have spoke about the issues of federal India. But the spirit of missing federalism, nobody would have brought in. But I wanted to take you to that angle to really have a clear-cut understanding. So for the prelims examination, from the static perspective of articles, for the mains examination to express your viewpoints, and most importantly, if at all a question in the interview comes, or when you want to present yourself in a public platform on such kind of issues, you'll be very well articulative in what you want to say in a very, very reformed and structurized manner. Clear? Yes, Devadarshini, फिर शुरू हो गई means. अच्छा, फिर शुरू हो गई means it again started. That's the meaning, Devadarshini. Oh my goodness. திருப்பி ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்களா? அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு meaning. தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்க்கா, புரியுதா? Deva is like she's learning Hindi these days. Good to know that. Yes, Ashmita, ma'am, most of the provisions show that unitary tilt, like the presence of governor, union law, overriding state law in certain cases. Yes, it does. It does, Ashmita. That is why we are still quasi-federal, or we are missing out certain parts as a whole. Hai na? But what we need is this picture. Can you see this picture, guys? State and national. What we need is such kind of unitary. That doesn't mean that it is a unitary system again. Unitary system is different from federal system. It is about the federal perspective. Because if you talk about unitary system, as per the definition, it talks only about the importance given to national level, where the orders will come from there. No, as and A. Both should go hand in hand. That is, united we stand, divide we fall. Irrespective of the differences of opinions, the differences of anger, ego, jealousy, whatever you have. That is in a professional space, guys. Okay. Even if you don't even like the person who's working with you or studying with you, it is okay. Because you are a person who's not able to accept the growth of others. That is why such kind of issues are coming. If you are a person with some amount of maturity and a decency, that okay, let the others grow because they have potential to grow. And why am I even jealous of it? Even if I don't say it off my mouth and don't show it out, because jealousy inside, you're doing all such kallatarams and all such rubbishness inside. Hai. So similarly, in the country level, when one state is growing, let's say for example, the state of Kerala is developing HDI. The state of Gujarat is too good in industry. The state of West Bengal is good in something else. The state of Maharashtra is good in cotton production, whatever. So you shouldn't be, kind of jealous, or let's say you shouldn't have that so-called feel. Why only that state? Nothing like that. It is India at the end of the day. And now, whatever differences in language, culture, tradition, religion you have among the different states, when it comes to India, Hamara Desh hai, we are all one. And we have a single country. That's the whole logic there. You understand? So now, in the professional space, why I said that is when you are in the professional space or from the country level, you got to have that maturity and see, because we're working for the common goal or motion. So all these kind of personal stuff, the kind of jealousy, the kind of which state is better, that state is better, all these things should go off. You understand? So I use the example of individual perspective for you to understand. So individual level, you know, what does a person do when they have all this rascals? So when it comes to the state level or the states level, for the betterment of your national unity, this is very important. Clear? Did you understand? Mansilayo kuttigale, you should indeed. Yes, Ashmita, kallatram is your favorite word. I know that because I use that word frequently. The cute wala badmash or the mischief. Anyways, back to class. to the question of whether a country India is federal or quasi-federal state. Here we go. As you all told me, yes, it is quasi-federal as of now. So now the elements of federalism. Okay, if you talk about the quasi-federal perspective, I can tell you that the so-called federalism, the elements of that, it was introduced way before, guys, even before independence, I can tell you. And that was basically put forward or introduced into modern India by the Government of India Act of 1919. And that time it separated the powers between the central and the provincial legislature. So since then we have the so-called elements of federalism put up. But today we are struggling to find the true spirit of what? The true spirit of federalism here and there. Clear? Yes, Deepesh, this is going to be a question in mains paper this year. You'll feel proud that you've taught us months before mains about this. Yes, of course, Deepesh. As I told you, the legal age of marriage, then this federal India topic, then say several of the topics of election commissions and linking of Aadhaar, voter ID, all these are hit list topic. The 6 a.m. class is what I do in YouTube. And the special series, what I do, 101% in mains examination, you can get a question. And for the prelims, the static portion, the current affairs portion of it. And the 6 p.m. class, we are doing MCQs now, from there you will get it. But this is a theoretical perspective. Damn sure you will. Yes, I will feel very happy indeed. Yes, thank you for the Deepesh. Yeah, this will come. Because these are kind of things which every aspirant or every person should know. No matter you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you are an economist, you're a scientist, or you are a computer specialist, or whatever you are, even you're a businessman or IT wala. This is your country, and federalism is not just for the people who are studying polity or the political analysis or the politicians. No, for the entire citizen. I am an economist or I teach economy, that is different. But then, from the current affairs perspective, being a current affairs expert, and most importantly, being a citizen of this country, India, these kind of topics should be known to me. Otherwise, how can I call myself a citizen, a true citizen in every sense? Ekdam bullshit to even do that. Even if you're a tailor or a designer or a model or actor or actress, whatever, you should know all these things. Only then you'll be able to excel in your field better. You should know the concept of federalism, because we are staying in this country, India, without knowing what exactly where we are and what we are. What is the point of you doing so much in the respective field? It is good for the concerned field that you are working for. But when you represent your country globally, all these things will be a huge setback because you have no idea on this. Really, I'm telling you. This is because when I used to represent my country, India, in various platforms, I used to feel so happy and proud that, see, Hamara Desh hai, India, the feeling of India, that word has a lot of meaning, because I at least know what is happening in different perspectives of my country. And I know the weakness and the strength. And this weakness, we try to cover it up with the strength and module it like that. We can talk about a country, India, over here, but not outside. You should not even think of putting a country even by 0.1% in any other country, in any other global platforms. Because that is something that you're putting clay or mud onto your own head, which should never happen. You know, that is something to be followed. I keep telling this every now and then to you people. So kindly follow this. Clear? And your UPSC CSC aspirant, the upcoming bureaucrats, I know you will keep up this word. Anyways. So now to talk about the elements of federalism. This was introduced way before, or let's say way back in the year 1919 by the Government of India Act as well. So now the concept of dual polity is one of the features of the Indian federal system. Now, dual citizenship, I told you already, because Puel has asked a doubt and I told you in the class. Now, dual polity is, see, the constitution of our country. They established a double or a dual polity, which consists of the central or the union and the state at the periphery. Now, each of the central or state, let me tell you that they are endowed with sovereign powers, which is to be exercised in the field that is assigned to them respectively by the so-called constitution. They have to exercise that particular task beautifully. Okay, because the central and state is given the task. This is called as dual polity. Dual polity doesn't mean that you have both the central and state together and have the equal power. Equal power, the equal task assigned. So it has to be completed. Some things the state government can do better. Only with the help of that data, the central can accomplish it. So it's kind of working together, guys. It's a kind of understanding. It's a kind of, the cooperation or coordination. You got the point? Now, written constitution. Very true. Our country, India, do have a beautiful written constitution. Yeah, out of the other written constitutions, we rank number 1. For the way we present it. Let me tell you that. And we got inspirations from other countries, that is a different thing. So now when we have a written constitution, guys, what does it tell us? It talks about the structure, the organization, the powers and functions of both the central and the state government. At the same time, it also talks about the ceiling or the limit within which they must operate. They should not even think of crossing it out. So now when you try to do this, obviously the misunderstandings and the disagreements between the two can be avoided. Clear? That is the beauty of a written constitution for our country, India. Fine? And yes, The Constitution of India, the features are of course taken from where for the other countries as inspiration. It never popped up in one single day. We took it, and the beauty is that we have a constitution that is not verbal or oral, rather written. That is something which is upholding the integrity, the sovereignty, and the other perspectives for us. Clear? When you see such kind of words, Constitution of India with the so-called symbol, emblem, and flag and all, some kabhi, you get that feel of patriotism into your heart. How many of you agree to that? Raise your hands quick, or give me a thumbs up, because I get it. I used to get it since I was a school girl. Maybe because I'm dedicated to my country, India, and to contribute a lot for this country as an upcoming female, or let's say as a woman. Brilliant. That's a great go, Ashutosh, Deepesh, and all. Very good. You should have that. A sense of invoking of such kind of true sense of patriotism, true sense of Indianism is very important. Otherwise, you cannot work in depth for your country. Be like you're going. Some people used to tell me, I still remember one statement made by a stupid, ridiculous person out there, where it was so ridiculous. I work here just because I want some salary. Okay, that is true. Even we work because we are getting payment. Otherwise, nobody's going to do any work for free, because you need to live, you need to feed yourself, so you need money. But that doesn't mean that you have no ethics for the noble profession that you do, which is teaching, which is so embarrassing and so pathetic to know that some people say that. So I am the PM or I am the CM because I want money. What is that? No. You have decided and dedicated yourselves to rule this country, to serve the people. Of course, you'll be getting a payment for that, but you do what you're supposed to do. Similarly, teachers. We teach. It's a noble profession where we are inspiring, or we are kind of motivating, or we're kind of instilling that values and confidence more than the textual data to these students. Even those textual data or textbook stuff, through the way it is to be instilled, it has to be done to the students or the audience out there, or the learners out there. Otherwise, there's no point for the income or the money that you even get in your hand. It is the first utter sense of selfishness to the core, where you can never contribute anything, even 0.1% to your country, guys, or to the upcoming generations. This is a reality. So why I'm quoting all this very recently, this has happened. This is a kind of statements made by some people out there. So I'm thinking all this. I'm connecting those things from the individual level. You see how we are connecting to the macro or the governance level, which means it has to change from the individual level. Only then, even for the country perspective, you can change. It all depends upon the way we conceive and perceive things. Very important. Not everybody will have the same IQ and the EQ, intelligent quotient and emotion quotient. But if you think, you can balance it, and that's the beauty of it as well. Accepting and adapting to changes, not just in words, but in action. Implementation process is very important, guys. Clear? This is what I feel I should even tell you people. That's why I'm telling you. No, to my surprise, when I took this topic, now a couple of things like this also came to my phone, where I was just wondering, oh my goodness, I was just thinking, today I'm going to talk about the federal India challenges and the governance and state and union perspectives. Now, at individual level, when people are doing this, I was trying to do interlinkaging of that, which showed me so much of evidences, how true it is, how insightful it is to know all this, and I am having the guts to come and talk this on a public platform, where not only to a group of students, but then to the entire world or globe, because YouTube is again a free platform. So even that particular guts, the particular person, or let's say the particular individual doesn't even have. So this is something which should change for the good of our country, for the good of those people, and for the citizen as a whole. Let me tell you that. Anyways, and I want all of you to have this style of attitude here, because this will really take you to greater heights. Otherwise, the growth will be limited. You cannot, raise up above a bar. Then why are you working so hard? When you live in this world, live by values, and you have to love by acceptance, and you have to lead a life as an example. And when you leave the world, okay, you have to live by creating a legacy. That is more important, and that will actually add more value of being a true Indian citizens for our country, India. Clear? This is very important. Keep in mind. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? Actually, even all of us are here celebrating our kind of Republic Day. Hashtag our style Republic. Yes, this is the way you got to celebrate a Republic Day. Just by hosting a flag doesn't mean that is Republic Day. That is the way to salute the great contributions made by the eminent leaders and personalities of those days, who really struggled to get independence for us, who really wanted to build the constitution. That is how the constitution in the year 1950 came into power. And that's why we have all this. That is a way to salute or give our respect. But at the same time, making sure these kind of topics and discussions are happening effectively. It's not just a class or a lecture. Rather, how it is making you think and how it is brainstorming you. So now that is something which adds a lot of practical implementation of value, don't you think so? Because now when you're attending this lecture, when you're hearing all these things, it is going on in your mind. Come on here, as a responsible citizen, this is what is more important. And this day is even more important to make you realize this in 2x times faster speed in your brains, I can tell you. Clear? That's a reality, guys. That's why I told you. See, people can take it either ways, good or bad, but the reality is reality that cannot never be hidden. Hai na? Now, back to the topic of discussion with regard to the so-called federalism in our country, India, because we said yes, we are quasi-federal and not a complete federal one. So we saw the dual polity, we saw the written constitutions, and now division of power. Yes, the federalism in India even has this. You can see the division of power of the constitution between the center and state in terms of union list, state list, concurrent list, and that is put up in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Now, in the prelims examination, as per the 7th list of the Indian Constitution, we have the union, state, and concurrent list. So this keyword can be utilized to frame a question. So please note it. Clear? So in the written perspective, all these things are there. But in this division of powers, do you really think the division of power is happening in a decentralized manner? Or still it is in the centralized perspective where the central or the union government will give instructions and the state is following it? This is a question to be still answered. That is why we are addressing all these issues or challenges to what? Federal India. We can just see what are the items or subjects that comes under union, state, and concurrent list. From the prelims perspective, this is very important because they can ask you individually this particular education subject or state list, concurrent list to confuse you. This tests your practical applicability. After knowing the subject or the theory, are you able to practically understand? That's why the slide is brought to you. Okay. So now all the items or subjects of national importance will be brought under the state list. Sorry, union list. Now, union law has an advantage that they can only make they alone can make laws. They not consider anyone. And if you see defense, the most important thing for a country in it's of the national security, it's not for the state or the local level, it's for the entire country. So defense, then banking, RBI, currency, foreign affairs, communication, all these are coming under the union list subjects, whereas state list means all these subjects or issues which has of local and state level importance, and state government alone can make laws on the same as well, no doubt in that. Now, let's say, for example, a scheme is put forward by one particular state. It's not required that, you need to actually, actually consult the central government for the same. You have the liberty to do that if it is suiting the state development policy. You understand? For example, yesterday 6 p.m. class, we discussed regarding a scheme called the Sujal scheme. You remember? The tap water mission on rural on urban India, and that was initiated by the state of Odisha. You remember? So now one particular state is doing that. Why? So now this can be spread out in different parts of India as well to other states also. But from the state level, they can do also. They can make laws, they can make acts and stuffs like that. They have the liberty if it is pertaining to what they want. And thus the subjects like police, because police is, though we have the central armed forces and all, police of every single state has to take into consideration the needs and demands and the security of that particular state as a whole. So now police, trade, commerce, agriculture, irrigation, these are coming under the state list. What is concurrent? Concurrent is a combination of both the central or the union and the state list together. All these subjects of common interest of both the central and state will come under that. Both central and state can frame laws accordingly. And if you see subjects like education, both the central and state has to make a list, because if you see the state of Kerala has number one, or they rank number one literacy education, whereas state of Bihar is very low. So more of push is required. And in the state of Kerala, if you see, even the one who knows to read and write is said to be literate. That is why 100% literacy is achieved over there. Whereas in some other state, the criteria is different. And what they do in Kerala is different from the state of Bihar or Jharkhand or other states. So every single state taking into consideration their requirement and need, they can modify laws. Then forest, trade, union, then marriage, adoption, succession, all these things are subjects of common interest applicable to both the central and the state government. So they are coming under the concurrent list. Did you understand? This is very, very important because of the prelims perspective from the third point. Can you see that? The subjects coming under each of these lists, you can get a question. So don't be confused. People will think that marriage is again in the state list. No, it is in the concurrent list. Education also people will think it is in the union list. No, it is in the concurrent. State and union together. Clear? So these kind of things will be confused. That is why I've told you here. Now, talking about the supremacy of the constitution with regard to the federalism in our country, India. Do you think our constitution is having the highest power? Yes, of course. It is a supreme. The constitution is supreme or the highest law of the land. And the laws enacted by the center and the state, they must conform to what the provisions. Thus, I can tell you that the organs of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, at both the levels must operate within the so-called jurisdiction prescribed by whom? The constitution. No doubt in that. So this is something to be followed. Clear? Now, the next important features, or let's say the next important context to be understood in the federalism of our country is independent judiciary. Yeah, that is true. The constitution is written for our country, India, clearly states that we establish an independent judiciary, and that will be headed by the SC, Supreme Court. So only then the Supreme Court will be able to settle all the jagadas or disputes or conflict between the central and the state governments, or even between the state that is arising, because that is very important for the smooth functioning, guys, solving of disputes and other perspectives. Clear? And thus India, the judiciary, we follow and abide by the rules and regulations. Don't you think so? When you go for a case in a court of law, they say now, that is Nidhi Devada, you say, right? In Malayalam, you say that is the goddess of justice, right? So now, judiciary is something where we have to abide by the rules and regulations, guys, no doubt in that. So, however, having understood all these things, let me tell you that our country, India's federal system of government, they have a power tilt towards the center. That is, we have the central and the state, but then 360-degree coverage now, it is for the center. The remaining only comes for the state. That is why we say that we are quasi-federal, we are not completely federal. That's a reality. And a center, we have a very strong center. The supporting points for this particular statement, that is, our country, India's federal system of government is, having a power tilted towards the centers because the center is very strong. Now, point number one, under that is, the division of power is in favor of center. That is true. And if you see the list of subjects in the union list, okay, they are more than what you can see in the state list. And many important subjects, they have in the union list, they have not been given the power of the state list or anything. That is, the center itself handles it properly. They feel that giving the state may reduce importance or the efficiency. So again, discrimination happens. Then the center has overriding authority over the concurrent list. That is, when the center and state has equal power in concurrent, we feel both equally share. But then in reality, always the center government will say, no, listen, we are a little higher than you. Let us, take a decision over there. They kind of many times override the authority also. So now, no matter the state is over there in the concurrent list also, where they have the powers also, it's becoming useless. And finally, the residuary powers have also been left with whom? The center. So these kind of things are quite important to be understood. Clear? Did you understand, all of you? And now, the states are not indestructible. What is the meaning of that? This is one important point to be understood, guys. Very, very important. The reality, the harsh reality. If you see the states in our country, India, be it Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Maharashtra, UP, Haryana, Punjab, etc., Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar, whatever state, whichever state, or even the northeastern states, Assam, Manipur, Tripura, whatever. Do you think they have a right to territorial integrity? Think and say. Territorial integrity. Do they have a right? Yes, Ashmita, very true. They don't have. The states in a country, India, have no right to territorial integrity. They cannot decide the boundary. The parliament can, by unilateral action, that is unanimous action, change the area, boundary, and name of a state. Let's say, for example, the state of Kerala cannot change the name by its own decision. They can give an approval, or they can give a proposal, and approval has to come from the state of the central government. And now the area, boundary, and all, they cannot change by themselves. The central government has to come over there. So now that kind of power is not given to any state, but the parliament can change. And that too only under unilateral action. On a unanimous perspective, everyone should agree to that also. There should be a 3/4 majority, guys. That is also required. Clear? So now can you call India completely federal? No. Where is the power of state? That is not coming there. That's why we're still quasi-federal. That is another supporting point. Thus, this is another important thing which I wanted to bring to your notice. Now, when you study a Lakshmikant textbook or some textbooks like that, you can see some important features of Indian Union. That is, not federal features. I told you the federal features or the federalism in Indian constitution features. Now, since we are quasi-federal, we have some features of federal and some features of unitary also. Both center and state is there, but equality of power is not the equal over there. So now the unitary features of the Indian Union is point number one, flexibility of the constitution. That is true. Now, the bulk of constitution of a country, India, I can tell you that we can amend or change them. How? By a unilateral act of the parliament. Now, it can be done by a simple majority or by a special majority, 2/3 or 3/4 majority, I can tell you. That is one thing. It depends upon the Senate to decide it. Next is further, if there is a power to initiate an amendment or change to constitution, again, center has no power. State has no power. Exclusively the power lies in the center. That is a unitary feature, because unitary means single power. Though you have center and state also, central government or union government, they have higher power. So in the unitary features of the Indian government, there is a flexibility of constitution in the context of what? In favor of the central or the union government. Clear? That is one point. That is a reality also. Don't you think so? I want to bring these features along with the federal feature of the constitution for you to have a proper bifurcation of understanding between these two systems and how it functions. Because only then you can talk about the challenges to a federal India in a much beneficial manner. Clear? Next is the unitary feature of the Indian Union is no equality of state representation. That is true. See, if you have a good population, or let's say based on the population perspective, the states are given representation in the Rajya Sabha. How unethical? Sometimes I will say unethically, because see, when you talk about equality, whether you have a high population or low population or whatever, whether you have more of OBC or SC or ST or general category, why equality is not coming from every single state of our country, India? Then how can you call ourselves federal? Again, the factor called unitary system of government is coming up there. That is why the factor called federalism is missing. Don't you think so? This feature is highlighting that. When you learn this feature, you should be able to make a valid point also out of that. Clear? Next is emergency provisions. We can get back to all this emergency call for different states of our country, India as a whole. Now, during emergency in a particular state, okay, now the state government cannot take a decision. The rule of them, that is, the president rule can be imposed. The prime minister can declare the state to be under emergency condition. So directly the particular state will come under the rule of the central government. So now during an emergency or a crisis or some kind of conditions, the central government becomes very powerful, and the states will go into the total control of the center. So now, is this federal? Is this a federal India? No. Or is this even quasi-federal? No. This is completely the feature of unitary system of governance or federalism, unitary system of Indian Union, I can tell you. Clear? And thus, this is actually converting the federal structure into unitary one without a formal change or amendment of the constitution. The constitution is not going to change amend over there. But you can see it is converting the federal structure into unitary one. Did you understand? Then the next important feature of the Indian Union, of the unitary system of the Indian Union or government is Parliament's authority over state list. Now, many times if you see, I told you based on the population of a state only, the states can represent Rajya Sabha. There is no equality there. Keeping that point in mind, now the Parliament is empowered to legislate on any subject of the state list. And the condition is if Rajya Sabha is passing a resolution to that effect of the national interest. What is this? So now, over the state list, come on, the parliament is having over authority here. Where does the right of state goes? Again, centralized perspective, or let's say the unitary system is coming there than the federal one. So what is the meaning of this? This is showing that the legislative competence of the parliament can be extended without making changes or amending the constitution. This is something to be understood. Clear? All these points, are they not putting out the spirits of federalism into your hearts? And don't you feel that it's very important that you're finding out the missing federalism that we have, and we got to instill it faster, and the government should do it faster? Yes, all these points are actually like that. See, don't take this as a normal discussion. Okay, ma'am is teaching some topics, she's teaching that feature, this feature. No, as an AA, as an AA. Every single point, take it in such a way that you have to contribute as a citizen. And this is what the government should also do. Be vocal in such kind of points. Take it to your social media platforms. Take it to Instagram. Take it to Facebook. Take it to Twitter. Tweet it. Nothing wrong. You are getting to know the reality, guys. Now, what is so wrong in tweeting by hashtagging the PM of a country? Nothing wrong in that. Do it. At this point of time, this is what you can do. Tomorrow, when you become an officer, that is a different thing. But at least from this point of time, you can do it now. This doesn't make you a rebel. Rather, it shows you're a responsible citizen. That depends upon the way you tweet it or the way you post it. Let me tell you that also. Don't go and abuse the government assets, then fatafat you'll get 2 to 3 onto your heads. Let me tell you that. There should be a way in which you're presenting it, That is why I'm teaching in such, debatable, diplomatic and in an insightful manner than the regular, normal way of teaching where you come and say, hey, listen, these are the features of the constitution. These are the features of federal India. These are the features of unitary India. That doesn't make a sense. I don't think your school kids for me to teach you like that. And even these days, the school kids don't want such kind of teaching. They are looking something out of the box where they can actively involve and they can brainstorm their brains to capture the things more effectively. Don't you think so? That is why it has been taught like this. Clear? Now, the next important feature, or let's say the unitary features of Indian Union, guys, compared to the federal one. Veto over state bills. I will take a topic on this veto in the coming class, guys, in 6 a.m. Remind me that this is current affairs also. So, veto over state bill is now the governor. Okay. They are empowered to resolve certain type of bills, which is passed by whom? The state legislature. And they can do that for consideration of the president and all. Now, the president, he or she can withhold his or her assent to such kind of bill, not only in the first time, but also in the second time or instance. Now, what is happening? The autonomy of state is going. It becomes again in the hands of central government. So this is showing the feature of what Indian Union on the unitary perspective. This is showing that we are having a unitary system than the federal system, right? And thus integrated judiciary. Yes, the judiciary in a country, India, the rule of law, that is integrated. You cannot see a separate judiciary at the center and the state level. That is another important point. And now single citizenship. Federal India talks about dual citizenship, and dual citizenship is not like being an Indian citizen and then being a US citizen. No, it talks about the OCI, overseas citizenship, of India. I told you the provisions also. 5 years if you are registered, and then in that 5 year, 1 year if you're staying in India, then you can become citizen of India. That's how the process goes. Now, dual citizenship is not happening here. Rather, it is single citizenship. In India, yeah, only once single citizenship is available to citizens. They cannot be citizens of state as well. That is also to be understood. So now, what is happening? This is a good thing. This is helping in increasing the feeling of nationality because it will, enable you to eliminate any sort of, religion, cultural differences and discrimination as a whole. And it also arguments to support the fundamental rights like freedom of movement and residence in any part of the nation. But then, do you have any representation of states coming? No. That is also not coming. You cannot say you're a citizen of Kerala. You can say you're a citizen of India and a resident of Kerala, resident of Maharashtra, resident of Haryana, resident of Delhi. You got the point. There's a difference like that. But anyway, this is a positive points to be added. Clear? Now, the appointment of governor. See, every single state has a governor. I'm not talking about RBI bank's governor. It's about the state governor. So now, the governor of a state. Now, the governor has his or her own discretionary powers. But then, the state government cannot even interfere in what the governor is functioning or does not even have a say many a times. They act as the center's representative in the state. So now the state government does not appoint the governor, the center does. The center doesn't even consult the state government also for the same. So now all this is showing what a kind of unitary system of governance, guys, for the central for our country, India. Don't you think so? Yes. These are the features. That is the unitary features of what? The Indian Union, and thus new states formation. Take the case of Andhra Pradesh being divided into Telangana recently. So now the parliament has the power to alter the territory of a state by increasing or reducing what? The area of the state. They can also change the name of a state. Clear? As per the request and demand of the state, yeah, they can do that. And thus all India service. Now, this is very well, notable for you people, very well applicable to you people. You all want to go into your all India service now, like IAS, IPS, etc., etc. Now, through this all India service, like IAS, IPS and all, the center will interfere in the executive power of state. You cannot take a decision if you are representing the West Bengal state or you are representing the Odisha or Kerala or Tamil Nadu state. You cannot take a decision just like that. You are central government employees. You're not state government employees. So what happened? The center will interfere in the executive powers of the states also. Now, these services, they also offer uniformity in administration throughout the nation. But then, but that benefit is there also, when it comes to the state perspective, more or less the state government has no power at all. Don't you think so? Yes. That's why I brought this point also. I wanted to bring this IAS, IPS point to make you understand. Yes, Ashmita, we have prospective violations of federalism personified. Oh my goodness. That's a joke of the day. Anyways, that's a statement that has been passed. Anyways, on a joke perspective, I'm taking it. Now, the next one, integrated election machinery. A couple of days before we studied about the Election Commission of India, the linking of the Aadhaar to voters and the electronic voting machines and stuff like that. Remember? Now, when you talk about integrated election machinery, the Election Commission of India is responsible for conducting free and fair elections, both at central and state level. But do you think the state level Election Commission of India, the state chief election commission officer, is appointed by the state people? No. The members of election commission, be it center or state, whatever is appointed by the president, again central level. So now it's a unitary system. The state government has no involvement at all in knowing what is happening. And thus, integrated audit machinery. Again, the president of the country appoints the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. And both for the central and state government, he does the accounts and auditing of accounts. Again, a unitary approach has been happening there. And now the power to remove key officials. State government cannot even think of doing that. Okay. Now, you require the approach of the central government to do that as well. Like the state, election commission of a state, judges of high court, chairman of state public service commissions. You cannot remove just like the state government. The central government has to, has to interfere as a whole. Clear? Now, having understood all this, I've told you what is federalism, the theoretical perspective of it. Is our country India really into the path of it? And are we federal or quasi-federal? You told me quasi-federal, due to which I showed you the federalism in our country India, the features pertaining to that. And if at all, if it is a federal India, what are the features? And now, what are the features of Indian Union with regard to unitary system? And I told you the difference of unitary system and also federal system for you to have an understanding. Having understood all these things in a crystal clear manner. Now, the most hated topic of discussion pertaining to the title of the topic, challenges to a federal India. We're going to discuss that. Already, keep all these points in mind. Because after understanding all these, we're going to the main topic again with regard to challenges, which is to be highly addressed today. Or let's say in the coming days. Hannah? So here we go. The challenges or the issues in maintaining the federal spirit of India. Point number 1. Ineffective functioning of several bodies. Very, very true, guys. Ekdam the harsh reality, I can tell you. Now, we have Niti Aayog, the independent think tank of Government of India. In the beginning of the class, I told you Planning Commission was put up, which is centralized. Now, decentralized approach is there. So, though the Planning Commission has been scrapped and replaced with the independent think tank called as Niti Aayog, which is having a decentralized approach, the Interstate Council has met only once in the last 7 years. Whereas, the National Development Council has not met at all. So, now you tell me several bodies, the functioning is not proper. And these events, because of these, what happened, it has led to obstructions in upholding the cooperative spirit between center and state. A very, very important point to be noted with regard to the challenge in maintaining the federal spirit, union and state, coordination with regard to a country, India. Don't you think so? It is highly, notable as well, this particular point and the reality. The next is issues in tax regime. I think Ganesh in the class asked me regarding Article 279. Now, the same thing what I've told you regarding GST Council cost stuff, it's apply here. It's applicable here. Now, the issue of GST. Remember in the 6 a.m. class, we had a topic called as GST, Goods and Service Tax in India. Is it, an unfinished agenda? It is true. It is an unfinished agenda because we discussed multiple controversial points and that we came to conclusion, right? So now connect that point over here. The method of interlinkaging you have to apply. The issues in tax regime. So now the misconceived GST perspective, goods and service tax, they've already taken away much of autonomy which the states are having now because the central government, let's see, in a matter of 5 years, from 2017 to 2021, if the state governments are not able to get the revenue of, let's say, 14% annually through GST, then the central government will compensate them, and that is how the GST Compensation Act was put forward. These were the promises. But then if you see in the 2020 month of March, what happened in that particular year? The pandemic broke out. Not just the country India, but the entire globe was affected. Hannah. But then what happened? Though that is the case also. Oh my goodness, let me tell you something. That was actually not acceptable in any part as a whole. Actually not acceptable. Let me tell you that. So now, having understood this particular, perspective or having understood this particular reality, when the state governments approach the central government saying that, listen, you got to really, really understand that the compensation has to be given because we are facing a huge issue. But then the conflict was like where the central government is not willing to even take that, point into consideration. So now there are so many misconceived GST, guys, and that has taken away much of autonomy, which is given to the states and has made the country's indirect tax regime unitary in nature. And during the pandemic, if you see the same thing, the GST compensation, what I've told you, that was completely rejected. So now there was also a delay in paying the states. After so many raskas and all, they said, okay, we'll pay the state because that's what the promise made the central government. This is an economy topic again, the GST perspective. So now the delay in paying the states again, worsen the impact of economic slowdown or recession, slowing down of economic activities. Thank God we did not go completely into it, but then still, yes, we did. We did to a greater extent, right? because the central government is violating repeatedly, guys, the compensation guarantees that they promise to state government. That is 14% of the revenue they're not getting annually, we're going to give you through GST Compensation Act. So do not worry. And that is how they were convinced by the central government when they wanted to adopt GST, by removing the sales tax, VAT tax, and all the perspective where the state government used to earn better through indirect perspective. Today, the entire indirect tax is under one single regime called as GST, Goods and Service Tax. Hai na? So multiple issue like this. So don't you think so? The fact of federalism, where the authority of center over the state is overriding, yes, it is. It is overriding, no doubt in that. This is another important challenge to what? A challenge to in maintaining the federal spirit of a country. That is why I said, are we really missing the federal spirit? Hannah? Clear? Yes, Ashutosh, it was just a fake promise. Obviously, it is very well known to all of us also. It was a fake. See, we cannot say fake promise, but then see, talking about the center also, they also never had funds because the pandemic just broke out like that, and now we are prepared for it to how to kind of tackle. But then at that point of time, people never knew what to do. So does the government as well. Okay, so that point of time, what they will do? Too much expenditure and stuff like that, and but the state government will talk because see, they did not know all those things. For them, they don't want the state to be completely shut down. So they will talk, and this was a promise made by them. So hook or crook, the central government responsibilities, they have to do it. So that is also there. Now, the next important challenge in maintaining the true spirit of federalism for our country, the challenge is center transgressing into the powers of state government. How? How can the center transgress into the powers of state government? Let's, for example, take the case of recent farm protest and farm bill protest. You remember all the farmers were fighting and protesting and all from different states, and finally what happened to them is again pathetic. Now, taking into consideration the importance of agriculture sector, I can tell you that the recent farm acts, a supporting example for the point what is mentioned above, I can tell you that the recent farm acts which allow the farmers to sell their produce outside the APMC, called as Agriculture Produce Market Committee. They could do it through ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Platform, where they can have wide amount of customers, where they can have a wide boundaryless transactions and stuff. So all these were done to improve the or let's say to double the income of farmers. So now the recent amendments of changes made in the Farm Act, basically to allow the farmers to sell their product outside or produce outside APMC model, and the aim of promoting interstate trade was brought in. But though that is the case also, this act encroached upon the state list. Why? That is one thing. So now you can see the center's transgressing of power into the state government. Second is entry 33 of the concurrent list. They mention trade and commerce, production, supply, distribution of downstream imported product industry. Including a foodstuff, oil seeds, cattle food, raw cotton, etc. comes under that. But do you really think all these items are, having the state government is having a highest authority over them or a say in all these commodities or import and export? No, the central government is having upper hand because concurrent is coming. So central and state union has to come hand in hand, where the 360-degree coverage tiltage is going to the central government again. You got the point. So these are things to be understood. Clear? So thus, for example, let's see the case of foodstuff, the essential items. If you are going to consider them, consider synonymous with agriculture, then I can tell you that all the powers of state in respect of agriculture, which is listed so elaborately in the constitution, they'll become redundant. You know that? Seriously. And in this kind of situation, the parliament cannot legislate a law in respect of, let's say, the agriculture produce, and they can and markets under the 7th schedule of the constitution. Why? Because agriculture comes under what? Do they come under the central list? No. Do they come under the concurrent list? No. They come under the state list. Then why this is happening? Then why there is no sort of involvement of the state government actively, in spite of them having also, why is the central government overriding it? So all these are biggest challenges in maintaining what? The so-called spirit of federalism. Clear? And agriculture itself is a very big example because recent fight, protest of farm bills, etc. is very evident. Don't you think so, guys? Yes or no? Come on, be active, young officers. Yes, indeed, the real truth. Hannah, you can see this particular picture will signify, better for you. In the newspaper and the Indian Express also, it was put up. The monthly's been revenue for state government, and this will diminish their relevance. Middlemen will be affected. Farmers will fear this will end MSP, and the fear of bargaining power with big companies, multiple things like that. Now the center is fighting with all these people as a whole, guys. And you can see it's one center and how powerful they are with compared to state in the hierarchy level. So they will, Hannah. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? So we'll gotta have the January CAMQ class of Unacademy. Yeah, we're supposed to have it, Deepesh. Hold down after this particular class is done, the notification will be sent across if it is there. But anyway, 6 p.m. class is there, okay? The MCQ of the 6 p.m. class is perfectly there. Clear? Perfect. Is it very clear, all of you? Any doubt, any queries? Perfect. So now the next important challenge with regard to with regard to maintaining the federal spirit of our country India is here we go. Article 370. You know, that was removed without consulting the state legislature. Then how can we even talk about federalism here? Then why we even have a state legislature? Why we even should have one as such? It was such a direct slap to the face of the state legislature as well, I can tell you. Without even any consultation, fatafat like that, you know. And now, with regard to education, education is what? Concurrent list. State and central government has an equal power on that. Now the NEP, New Education Policy 2020, has also been flagged as encroaching on the federal nature of polity. Additionally, the BSF. The BSF ka jurisdiction was extended in Assam. The border ka stuff na, not only in Assam, in West Bengal and Punjab also. That too without any consultation with the concerned Assam, West Bengal, and Punjab ka states. So now where do you see federalism here? Where do you see the states ka importance here? Kuch nahi, hai na? And now the next important challenge is increasing central dominance in fiscal policies, the taxation perspective. Do you really think so? Yeah, the dominance is more or less, that is the upper hand. You're riding over the state policies or the state perspective, I can tell you. If you see a series of steps taken, which was taken by the central government, actually those things have literally proven to undermine the principles of fiscal federalism. And you can support this particular point by saying, or let's say by quoting the example of increasing monetary share of the states in centrally sponsored scheme. That is normally 60% contribution by the central government and 40% by state government, or 50 by center, 50 by state. But now it has become ulta, 80% by center and 20% by state. Sorry, 80% by state and 20% by center, or let's say 60% by state and 40% by center. Where central government is supposed to, have an upper helping hand because of the huge resource they have. But then, compared to state, I'm talking. But then, the monetary share of state in the centrally sponsored scheme is increasing. And imposition of demonetization, which you saw in the year 2016, 17 and all, without adequate consultation with state. They just did as it is and everyone had to accept it. So now somewhere or the other, the dominance of central fiscal policy is also increasing. That's a big challenge in maintaining the spirit of federalism, let me tell you that. Next is outsourcing of the statutory functions under the smart city mission. See, they have some legal powers given, but then why they are not being considered? And if you see, as per the 2020-21 data, the share of the central of the union government in total contribution to the petroleum sector was 68%, more than majority. And the price of petrol was shooting up like anything. Even today, it is shooting up more than 100 rupees per liter. And whereas the state government, if you see, is just 32%. So again, where is the equality? Where is the federalism coming up? All these things are questioned. And if you see in the year 2013-14, the union state share was almost 50-50. But today, if you see, the same share of the petroleum sector of the current fiscal year is 68 for center and 32 for states. Why? Why such kind of discrimination? And next is inadequate funding. Another important challenge in maintaining the spirit of federalism for our country, India, is inadequate funding. If you see, all the states which are cash stuff, which does not have much of funding, guys, they have been seeking non-tax avenues. Only then they'll be able to generate enough revenue of fund, so then they'll be able to carry forward the sustained program. And many a times, if you see the suspension and transfer of the MPLAD, again, a very, very important hit list topic in the year 2020, a direct question on the same MPLAD came for the prelims examination. The question and the keyword was exactly same in your question paper. It came from my prelims booster series plus course. This particular topic. This year also, it's a very, very important hit list topic. Please go through. That is why I keep telling you, don't miss my MCQ classes, because predicted areas, predicted questions can come. Clear? So thus, talking about the inadequate funding, if you see the example of, or let's say the case of the suspension and transfer of the Member of Parliament Local Area Development Funds to the CFI, Consolidated Fund of India. Again, that is leading to a major crisis situation in most states. See, CFI consists of the entire treasury of the government of India. Whatever revenue they get through taxation and stuff, everything comes under that, which is directly under the control of center. But now the suspension and transfer of the fund given in the MPLA, the Member of Parliament Local Area Development, due to some issues that happened in between, saying there is a lot of corruptions and the MPs are not doing it properly and all. See, at the end of the day, for one state it happened, or let's say for one part it happened, but for the entire state, when you took a decision like that, for most of the states, it is a huge crisis where they don't even have the autonomy to carry forward the program they want to do for the funding they want. They have to still depend on getting the approvals from the central government, which they may or may not get. You understand? And thus, the government borrowing has also raised, the government borrowing has increased. Okay, the government has increased the borrowing limit under the FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act, from 3 to 5%. Normally, 3% is ideal. Taking into consideration the COVID pandemic, the borrowing limit of government, as per the budget and economic survey, they said 1 more percent we can increase, making it to 4%. But in the budget, it is still 3%. But now again, since the borrowing was not sufficient, the government took it to 5%. 2 times, that is 2% more they increased. And now there is something called as off-budget borrowing. Please write it. Off-budget borrowing. What is off-budget borrowing, guys? That is, for example, as per the budget of the government, the fiscal deficit, that is a limit in which you can borrow money for the expenditure of your country from internal and external sources, has a limit of 3%. More than that, the fiscal to maintain the fiscal deficit, when revenue falls short of expenditure, of course the government has to borrow, because let's say, for example, when the revenue is 100 crore and the expenditure is 200 crore, for the next 100 crore to meet the welfare activities and other perspectives, you have to borrow, no other option. That is totally a true thing which I understand. But then it doesn't mean that you can cross the limit just like that, because these are not free of cost. You have to pay back to the government. You have to literally pay back more, or you have to pay back the interest, because it becomes a huge liability for the government. So now the pandemic was such that the expenditure was too much. So now they increase the borrowing. And now you know what they do. Apart from this, we know that this 3 and 5% now is just a few figures or numbers. The real borrowing of government is way beyond that. So now off-budget borrowing is nothing but the government will borrow from the banks or the domestic people, or let's say from the external countries, keeping a third party, a middleman. It could be a public stakeholder, it could be a big businessman, it could be any other banks or whatever. Now they will borrow the money on behalf of the government of India, and they will give that money to the government directly. Now the whole point is, here the government plays a very big kallataram. Now they are not directly liable to the person or the institution from where whom the money they have got. The concerned middleman or third party will be responsible. So whatever happens tomorrow, they'll be caught. But the central government, union government is so smart that they will assure that these people are not in trouble. And why these people or the organizations do that is, in return, they will have some, benefit from the government as a whole. All the collateral and politics and stuffs like that, whatever is to be understood. Clear? So that is why they do this. So off-budget borrowing is something where it will be done by the government indirectly using a third party. And now that money will be given to the government itself, and the government carries out the expenditure activity through that. The reason is because there is a limit of the fiscal deficit of 3% in the budget, and they increased it to 4% and now to 5%. In spite of that, they couldn't manage. So they kept on doing this also on side by side. Did you understand? Yes, Deepesh, if they're making money out of such stuff, where are they spending? Can't see much development, expect some statues around. See, yesterday also unveiling of a statue was taking place. See, the statue is what the PM is saying that, or let's say the government is saying that it is for attracting tourism, because tourism fetch a better revenue. Let me tell you that tourism actually fetch a very good revenue, guys. That is a very important point to be understood. Take care. So that is what they say, and to show out the incredibility of a country, India and all. But then they fail to understand that even there are people who still die of poverty, starvation, and hunger. And the global hunger index of our country, India, is increasing instead of decreasing. Such a pathetic situation for us. So now the social indicators bar is coming down compared to the economic or the other perspectives. You understand? So now this is a question which is raised. Way back it is raised. But still what they want is still doing it. And now talking about this borrowing, if you see, yeah, they are spending. It's not like they're not spending. You should understand one thing. The population of our country, India, it is growing at an alarming rate. We rank number 2 in the world economy after China with 1.21 billion population. And by 2050, if this is continuing, then we'll become number 1 also. Because in China, at least the population rule has been brought in. That is, if you have another child, you have to pay a tax and stuffs like that. But over here, it is not possible because the n number of incredible religious beliefs and stuffs like that. Even 2 children these days people are limiting, but then they feel no, they should have 3. I mean, you cannot stop people from giving birth. The whole point is you should be able to feed the growing population. See, having a population, you can even take it in a positive sense, like how I taught you in NCERT economy, guys, in class 9, chapter 2, people as a resource. You remember in the plus class I've taught. There also they say people is a resource, not a burden. If you're able to feed the growing population, take it as a human resource and convert them through skill development perspective. You think it in that perspective. Don't make the people as a liability, but as an asset. You got the point. So this kind of notions will come. This kind of notions will come only when you, are able to think out of the box, guys. Let me tell you that also. Clear? So now, when such kind of limit is placed on fiscal deficit, do you, on the borrowing perspective, do you think the state governments will be able to borrow? It becomes quite difficult for them because the limit is like that. And off-budget borrowing is only for the central government, guys, not for state government. That provision, let me tell you. So all these are also another important challenge in maintaining what the spirit of federalism in our country, India. Clear? Yes, Ashutosh. It's same as we build house, but we don't have to eat. Yeah, kind of. That is something to be really thought about, Ashutosh. Yeah, your brains are all working. I understand that the multiple, mnemonics, the multiple phrases and the codes that you're framing on this topic. It shows your brains are working good. Yes, Ashmita. We have one of the worst health investments globally. Yeah, but then, we can never say that. Actually, with regard to the Maitri, the vaccine Maitri perspective and all, we're doing great. It cannot be said in that way as a whole. Clear? Now, one of the important challenge in maintaining the spirit of federalism, or let's say why we are not completely federal and why we are still quasi-federalist, the impact of COVID-19. Very true, guys. Now, the states, they were curtailed or let's say they were reduced in so many aspects with regard to the COVID-19 management, like collection of procurement of the testing kits, vaccination, use of Disaster Management Act 2005, the unplanned national level lockdown affecting the state's management, the people's cost stuff, so many things like this. And also the ill-prepared government. See, first way we can understand, we never knew. The government also, it was quite new to them, the virus or let's say how to manage it and all. But the second wave, we know what to do, we have to plan properly. In this current third wave, we know when Omicron and stuff like this is coming, we know what to do. But then the second wave now, the ill-prepared government, during the second wave, they countered criticism by claiming health as a state subject. They said, see, this is how the government said. That is, they were prepared to face a second wave, but then in reality, being a concurrent list or let's say a a central list, they said that come on, health is a state subject. You got to take care of them. So how nicely or let's say how lethargically you're saying like that. So now what happened to the state government? They cannot say no, it is not our subject because they have to maintain the integrity of their state. So this COVID-19 has hugely created a lot of impact, guys. I can tell you. So now these are the biggest issues or challenges with regard to federal India. Now, having understood all this, guys, do you really think we are missing the spirit of federalism? The question what I've asked you. Do you really think? Let me show you that. Are we really missing it up? The true spirit of federalism. Because I showed you multiple perspectives. It's not just one perspective of federalism or let's say the negative. I showed you the benefits of features of federal India, the benefits of unitary system, multiple dimensions we discussed. Even we spoke about the static perspective, the constitutional perspective, the articles, and sab kuch like that. And even the challenges. And not too many challenges. The solid 6 to 7 challenges is enough, guys. Nothing more is required. That itself has 10 other points connected. So the method of intel engaging will make you understand what to talk and what not to talk. Let me tell you that. Okay. So now, Ashmita is saying definitely yes, it is. It is really, really missing, guys. No matter wherever you go and tell that India is this, come on, we are still quasi-federal. Why are we not able to make it completely federal? That is something to be understood. So now, no matter you replace whatever, it cannot be the case. You got to implement an action as well. That's more important. Hannah. So here we go. Having understood all these things, see, talking about a problem is not going to give you solutions. Don't you think so? It's high time that we are having a way forward as well. So what are the suggestions or way forward, or let's say the effective conclusions or policies to be implemented? Point number one, what I feel is like, guys, recognition of federalism from the issues and challenges what we've discussed and the background of this particular topic. Come on, if you really want to increase the spirit of federalism in our country, India, and to make a country from quasi-federal to a complete federal state. Now, recognition of federalism of our country is very, very important, which is underlined in the Article 1 of our Indian Constitution, that India is a Bharat and is a union of states. The word federation is not coming, I agree to that. And it should be very clear that the devolution of power is necessary in such a setting. You cannot even think of giving an upper hand to the central government where they are overriding in many situations in the state. That cannot be the case. That doesn't mean that the central government will not interfere. They have to interfere. But you give the autonomy or the kind of diversity out there instead of overriding on every single perspective out there. Where the state is supposed to have a power, they're not given a power. So how can they function? Where they're supposed to have a proper funding, they're not given a funding. They're overburdened. So how can they function? You got the point. So recognition of federalism, the true spirit is very important. And thus a conscious recognition of the federal character of India's polity is very important. Why? If you don't do that, believe me, then the national character or interest cannot be protected. So we need to protect it. So let's have a conscious or rational recognition of the federal character of our country, India's polity. Clear? And thus at every single level, local, central, state and central level, a struggle shall be waged against those who strive to, usurp the federal rights of other, whoever it is. From individual level, if somebody is trying to do that to you, fatafat, finish them in a nice way. In similar way, if it is with regard to the country level, if the state or the central, whoever is trying to kind of, do that, be it the local government against the state or the state against the center, a struggle at all levels should be waged against those who try to do this. No compromise at all in such kind of things, saying that, okay, let's leave it, let's not go for issue or problem. No. When you keep saying like that, people, get up and sit and dance in your brains. One or two instances you can leave, but not every time, because that becomes an encouragement for them to do the same thing. Similarly, when the country is doing this, when the states are doing this, when the local government is doing this against the state or state against center, fatapat it has to be done. Or the center back to states. You got the point. You got to represent in such a way where the recognition of federalism is 101% put up over there. Clear? Next important way forward is strengthening the relations. What relation? Interstate relations. Now, the state government, okay, this is a very logical point where it shall consider deploying human resource. Why? Because when the state government is doing that, what happens is that it will enable them to support them in preparing responses to all the consultations with regard to the central or union government, especially with the focus on federalism angle, where the equal participation, wherever the state is ignored, where they're supposed to be given recognition, they have been brought back to track. And thus, only during emergency or crisis we try to do this. So why only during that time? Instead of reaching out to each other, central and state, now you know how it functions. For every single thing, the unity should be there. But now when there is a problem or crisis, now the central and state meeting will be there. What nonsense is that? Or how ridiculous to be like that is something which the experts, or let's say the critics out there has posted openly. Yes, this particular statement was there on Twitter also. So now, by the concerned people, guys, I'm not saying it is the normal people, the concerned people. Okay. So now, instead of reaching out to the center and state each other only during crisis situation, let the CM or chief ministers of the concerned state may create forums for regular engagement on this issue. So the relationship between the center and the state goes hand in hand. Not one particular state and center. Every single state and center, guys, it's indeed the need of the hour. Clear? The rapport is very important. Because this is very, very crucial, guys. In what? In the advocacy of major demands. For example, recently the GST compensation cess. Okay, they said we need to have it. And now taking into consideration the situation of our country, India, day by day, this impact of COVID-19 with new variant of viruses and Omicron, this is extending. The lockdowns nationwide, the other perspective, the other restrictions is going on. So now the state government cannot think of, getting back to track the way they want. So now along with the GST compensation cess, which the central government has to pay back the state government, they even said that for a period of 5 years, they will compensate. But now the situation is pathetic. So till 2027, for another 5 more years, you have to extend it. So now in such kind of, major demands by the state government, like extending the GST compensation to the year 2027 and inclusion of cess, that is tax on tax, in the divisible pool of tax where the central state government is getting enough share and not major share goes to central government. There should be equality and all. You need to have a very good interstate relation. Not when the problem is there, you run and go. No, that's kind of using the people. Like individual level, when somebody wants something for the other person, nicely they will talk. Array, etc., X, Y, Z. And now when the thing is done, fatafat. Like, curry leaf, though, they take and throw you. And you never even know they did this to you. After some point of time, you realize. And some people having so much of rage, anger, and, kind of revenge inside them. They'll be so good to you. You will not even know even 0.1% this person is having this to you. And even the person will never show it outside to any other circle also. But then when a situation comes, fatafat, in a very nice way, they do it and go. So now this kind of thing is actually spoiling the efficiency, or let's say the kind of working style among two different individuals, so, or let's say the association. So similarly, in a country level, state and central government, guys, why only during crisis? Even if you have difference of opinions, if you see the state of Tamil Nadu and Kerala do have difference with the central government, I do agree to that. But then why I said southern states, this is the controversial topics, okay? But then doesn't mean that the Kerala state government doesn't give us concern support to the center, or the center should not give it back to them. It should go hand in hand. Frequent meetings, frequent engagement on various issues, except the emergency perspective, or only during crisis, shouldn't be the case. It has to be a regular flow. So when they pass a demand, or when they ask for a demand, based on that association or a professional note, things will work for the best, because this is not individually for one particular state or for one particular, or for the center, for the entire state and for the entire country as a whole. Matlab, it is India again, the nation perspective ka objective. Clear? Did you understand, all of you? And this is a very important point, guys. Indeed, you have to learn from this also. Indeed. The next one, bringing reforms while balancing federalism. Yeah, this is very important. Now, our country, India, we're very diverse in culture, in customs, in people, in language, religion, etc. So that's why we call it incredible. Hai. Now, don't you think such kind of diversified country like India requires a proper balance? And that balance between what you need. You need a proper balance. One second. You need a proper balance between the pillars of federalism. Okay. That is having a proper autonomy of the states, then centralization, regionalization, etc. Because simultaneous or balanced regional development is also equally important. Only then federalism can come into place. So thus, I can tell you that extreme political centralization, that is overriding the state policies and rules by the center, or confusing or chaotic political decentralization, all these things you can avoid. Because both, be it extreme political centralization or the confusing political decentralization, both, be it central or decentral, in the extreme situations, okay, it will lead to weakening of the Indian federalism. Such kind of stuff should never be taking place. It's very pathetic to actually even think about this, because the balance of federalism goes in. When you bring reforms, make sure the reform or the change is also upholding the integrity of your country with regard to the concept of federalism, and nowhere or the other we are putting that down. You understand? So thus, proper utilization of what? Of the institutional mechanism of the interstate council is very much important, guys. Really, I'm telling you. Why? Because this is required to ensure, or let's say to develop political goodwill between both the center and the state on a contentious policy issues. Very, very important. If all these things are practically implemented only, this makes a sense, not just in the textbook, or let's say in the other perspective. So 1, 2, 3, solid 3 suggestions are given for this entire problem. This 3 is equal to another 12 points, because multiple things are coming under these 3 subheadings. Don't you think so? This is what I feel. What do you feel, guys? Don't you think so? Even if you refer any textbook data, or if you match with any sources also, based on the issue, based on the background understanding, based on the static understanding of what we are having today and the challenges of today. I'm talking about the today challenges, not what has happened before or after independence. Currently, the last 5 years or the 10 years, I can tell you the way forward. Because every now and then the economy is changing, so does the people, the population, the governance and stuffs like that. So we got to really uphold the integrity of our country in that, the true spirit. Don't you think so? So that's it. I promised you for a 2-hour marathon. I didn't take more than that. We started at 10 and at 12 we are finishing. So thank you so much, young officers. I hope that was a damn great Republic Day for you people, with a wonderful discussion of the day. Henna. So don't forget to like the video, put your valuable feedbacks in the comment box. At the same time, make sure that such kind of topics are not just only in papers or textbooks. Rather, it is also been articulative from you by spreading out in various social medias and also in the respective forums required. And also for UPSC CSE, be it prelims, mains and interview level, it will be very, very useful. Very, very current hit list topic, guys. The challenges to a federal India. Now you tell me, is India really missing the spirit of federalism? Yes or no? Quick. Quick, quick, quick. Fatafat, give me the right answers. You got to do that fast. 10 minutes I'll give you for discussion. So Deepesh is saying yes, it does. Now I want you people to explain, or let's say put down your points, jot down your points in the chat box. You tell me, you jot down your points. I'll give you time. After learning all these things, what did you really understand? Why we are really missing the spirit of federalism? There should be one tagline. See, this is for you to understand in the real sense. And also, there should be a tagline. If you ask me, challenges to a federal India, I will say it as, see, this is quoted by me. Challenges to federal India, I say that we are missing the true spirit of federalism because we still rely upon quasi-federal system and not the true spirit of federal system. And we more or less have an inclination towards a unitary system of Indian Union. This is how I will quote. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less I will say. This is my way of quoting. Similarly, every single person as an individual do have their notions, do have the creativity as a whole. So quickly tell me guys, what is your point of view or your tagline for this particular topic on this Republic Day special current polity series? Quick, jaldi, my young officers. This doesn't mean that only, the UPSC students can answer. Anybody can answer. Let me tell you that. This is kind of open to anybody. Huh? Yes? Yes, guys, why no response? I can't see your responses. Okay, now I can see Ashtosh ka message. Oh, it was a little, slow, I believe. What is it? We are missing federal system because central and state, what is it? Central and state bridge has not been built effectively yet. Okay, you have jotted down your points in a nice way. Good, but more you can add to it. Yes, Deepesh? I guess India is missing its true spirit of federalism because that is what I have told you here, my dear. Yes, we are missing. This is the quote I gave. We are that word called as missing the spirit of federalism. That is put by me. So now you will have your own way of putting a tagline, right? That has to be brought in with the reasons. Where is Devadarshini? Where is Chirag? Where is Ashmita? Yes, Kunal, Ganesh, quick, you got to be really fast. People are typing slowly, है ना? Oh my goodness, kitna bar you will type? Fine, number A you're telling. Okay, Deepesh is saying, obviously, as you said, it's quasi-federal nature. B, it's self-decision-making power, which is centered around itself only. Yeah, that is true. So now that is the whole point. See, when we miss the spirit of federalism, don't you think so? That is a big hindrance or obstacle to the growth and development of your country, India. Is that not directly affecting the development process? Yes or no? It is affecting. It is affecting, Hannah. So that is something to be understood. And now, from the polity and governance perspective, okay, from the economic perspective, development process gets affected because see in the economic survey put last year, if you see, based on Kautilya's Arthashastra, we took a load of inspirations and we framed the economic survey. That's how we refer back to the ancient textbooks to take the strategies. Okay, to start from scratch. In that they said trust is a public good, which means trust in the governance of the government. People should have faith and trust. Otherwise, no matter whatever governance you do, it becomes fruitless. It never becomes fruitful. That is very important. So now the so-called federalism conspirate, all these things revolve around that particular perspective. You can start connecting like that also. Clear? Yes, Deepesh is saying not considering state's perspective. Very true, yeah, that is true. That is, even if they consider also the namesake. So what happens, it becomes you or me, like Niya Nana. Matlab you or me, kaun hai, like aap or me. Matlab it becomes like that. It becomes a fight like that between the center and the state. The biggest Cold War, which will be very, very dangerous as a whole. That shouldn't be the case. And the next dirty politics which has been happening is that where it is very well known to all of us via various movies, via various web series, via various other documentary stories, and we are seeing that even it is visible, shown visibly to us, irrespective of the textbook data. Visibly also it is shown where when the ruling party is not in favor of the concerned state government's ruling party, and if they are not, in the so-called association, then they create a lot of ruckus and issues in the state itself, the central government, by developing their own party and continuously, slapping, or let's say continuously targeting on the concerned ruling party, disrupting them to effectively function their duties as a whole, or deliver their duties as a whole. This is currently happening in the state of Tamil Nadu, guys. Very evident. Very evident it is. And that is something which is actually triggering the true spirits of the people as a whole. Also in the state of Kerala, this is happening. Because they are all the nationalist, they don't have the nationalistic party as a whole, where the state parties are ruling over here, and stuff like that. Even in West Bengal, that is happening. So now, these kind of things is something to be understood in the realistic perspective. Yes, Ashutosh is saying another beautiful statement. What is it, Ashutosh? Central should start behaving as parents, rather than a typical father. Oh my goodness. What is this typical father, by the way? Do that, do this, do that, do that. But fathers does it for the benefit of us. Let me tell you that. Typical matlab, you mean the modern kind of parents or the practical parents you mean? Yeah, that is true. That is, a support should be given. What you said is very true. I can frame it out in a beautiful way as well as Tosh. Very good. That is, yeah, what you said is like in a nice way, you support, you scold when it is required to scold. At the same time, help us in rectifying the measures the required support. Very true. Instead of avoiding completely, which will hamper the growth. Very good. Strong statement. Good. So the brains are working. Why are the others keeping quiet? Come on, the time is up. You cannot answer later. I will not give you time after that. Perfect. So tell me, how was the session, guys? Did you really enjoy the Republic Day special current polity series? If so, don't forget to like this video. Keep sharing it across your friends. Be it UPSC or non-UPSC aspirant, this is a general topic which everybody should know. But I have covered in UPSC level, matlab, the highest standard level. So the analysis goes in that particular perspective, because such kind of things have to be understood also, right? So make sure that it is reaching everybody. And now once the live streaming is over, what you do is you got to share this across your social media, or let's say across other platforms, and also put your comments, whatever you said in the live chat. Put the same thing in the chat comment box. What do you feel as a responsible citizen and such kind of thing? You know why? This shows what truly you are thinking about, a country, India, and the constitutional perspective. So jot down your points like that. If possible, post it out in your social medias by tagging the link. Let people get to know more about this kind of stuff, because being Republic Day, these kind of things are also very important, guys, for them to know. Just by, as I told you, hoisting a flag, respecting is that we are respecting the contributions done by the great leaders and our country. India is very true, very grateful indeed. And even I myself is honored for witnessing such situations. But then we have to also bring in limelight, or we have to throw light in a different perspective, such kind of harsh reality, or let's say the raw reality in the true sense, without even having any sort of fearing or, that kind of scaredness out there. Clear? Perfect. So yes, that's all for the day, my young officers. I hope you really enjoyed the class. So I'll see you at, there is a special series schedule, guys. But let me see if the link is available. If so, I'll send it to you. Otherwise, 6 p.m. Don't forget to come for the Unacademy free special live class on the UPSC level MCQ Republic Day special. Take care. And at the same time, the link of my profile is given below the chat box. What you do is you can even follow me via that. Use the code Nisha IAS Live for all the updates of my free class, plus class, and for discounts and other perspective. Clear? So reach out to me via Telegram and also via other social media platforms. Just Google my name, Nisha Nujumudeen. You get all the details and informations. So whatever doubts, whatever queries you have, I hope it is rectified and cleared. And if at all anything in the comment box of this particular video, feel free to put it out. And also, what are the other topics that you want in the coming 6 a.m. morning live class called as current topics in news? Do let me know. Accordingly, I'll jot out the topics. Clear? Because we focus only on the hit list and the controversial topics, which is very, very important for you to know from the UPSC perspective and also from the current affairs updation perspective. So whatever topic that you have in mind, do let me know. Accordingly, I'll do it. Yes, Devadarshini, Carnival. I'll let you know, Devadarshini, give me some time. The links are not visible. If it is approved, it will be visible. I'll share it across to you. Anyway, 6 p.m. is there because already the link is sent across to you. But there are 3 more sessions to be lined up. Let me just have a look into it. Okay? But anyways, thank you so much, my young officers. Once again, my heartfelt wishes to all of you on this Republic Day. Invoke this true spirit of nationalism within yourself. Why? Because you don't become what you want, but you become what you believe. Keep this in mind on this Republic Day. And having this in mind and having the freedom in mind and the faith in words and pride in our heart and memories in our soul, we have to salute our nation on this Republic Day. That's a Jai Hind from me to all of you. Thank you so much, my young officers. See you all for the next session soon.